Hello and good morning everyone. Today, me and my friends will do a speech analysis for the video. Example of a great informative speech, brackets Netflix. I am Ikmal and I'll be covering the introduction. For starters, the speech explains how Netflix recommends shows using machine learning. Basically, this speech trying to elaborate on how Netflix recommends us the things that we want to watch using machine learning. So the speaker is a math major with coding experience, so it makes sense how does his speech makes complex technology easy to understand. So one good thing about the speaker is that the speaker uses humor and pop culture reference. This is by doing this, you can engage the audience with questions and interactions. So without questions, interactions, and humor from pop culture reference, audience engagement are confirmed. And for the most of the part, the speaker avoids jargon. He uses simple and relatable language, which means he doesn't use very much the special terms. And the speaker, interestingly, prepared a prop called the BroncoFlix 2000. So the speaker filmed this speech, gave his speech in a university lecture hall for both live and remote viewers. So this speech leaves audience informed, entertained, and curious.
Hello and good day everyone. I am Kistina Damia Binti Farooq Ali and my metric ID is 4242003-651D, and today I will be explaining two aspects of the speech titled Intro to Public Speaking, Example of Great Informative Speech, Netflix. The first part I will cover is the speech objectives and the second is the audience and context. Now let's begin with the objectives of the speech. So the main goal of the speaker is to inform and educate the audience about how Netflix uses machine learning to suggest content that users may like. Besides that, the speaker also tries to keep the audience engaged using humor, casual language, and interactive elements. And the speaker makes complex ideas easy to understand by giving examples that are familiar to the audience. He doesn't just focus on Netflix, but also mentions platforms like Facebook, Gmail, and Spotify to show how machine learning is used in daily life. The core message is that machine learning is not only used by researchers or experts, but it actually affects all of us every day. The speaker introduces himself as a mathematics and machine learning student, which make him credible to speak about this topic. But instead of using technical words, he uses simple terms and shared experiences to explain the concept. One good example is the use of a made-up tool called the BroncoFlix 2000, which he uses to show how Netflix makes recommendations. His use of jokes, pop culture references, and audience participations helped to make the speech more lively and interesting. Overall, the speaker successfully achieves his goal, which is to make the audience understand how machine learning works and how it relates to their everyday lives. Now let's move on to the audience and context of the speech. So this speech takes place in a college or university classroom, and the speaker is also a student, and this shows that the audience is mainly made up of young adults, likely students as well, who are familiar with streaming platforms and technology. The speaker interacts directly with the audience, which suggests that it's a small to medium-sized classroom, and his casual tone, use of humor, and relatable examples shows that the audience prefers a friendly and engaging presentation rather than something formal or technical. Apart from the live audience in the classroom, the speech is also recorded and shared online, such as on YouTube, and this means that the speaker is also speaking to a wider audience beyond the room. Because of that, he keeps the language simple and content easy to flow so that anyone watching the video can also understand the message. Okay, throughout the speech, the speaker asks questions and even gets the audience involved in a short activity, and this makes the presentation more interactive. And he clearly understands who he is speaking to, and he adapts his delivery to match the audience's background and interests. So, to sum everything up, the speaker not only meets his objectives but also successfully connects with the audience in both live and online settings. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Karishma and I will be presenting the part of speech, context and structure. So firstly, the speaker looked really calm and confident. Nobody introduced him, but just by the way he stood and smiled, he looked ready. His opening was actually really funny. He pointed at a blanket, he lifted it, and there was another blanket underneath. That made the whole audience laugh and definitely got everyone's attention. After that, he linked it to Netflix and talked about how Netflix can surprise you too. So it was a very creative way to start and a really good attention getter. Then he went into the main parts of his speech. He talked about 3 things: how Netflix knows what we like by seeing what we watch, how it recommends more shows based on that. So that is called the algorithm of Netflix. And the third one is why the algorithm is actually good for both us and for Netflix. He gave simple examples, like if you watch an action movie, Netflix will give you more action movies to watch. Everything was explained clearly and the points flowed really smoothly. Now on to the next slide. So for my third slide on what was good, so here is what I think that was done really well during his speech. The opening was funny and it grabbed attention. The structure was also clear, like it was very easy to follow his points. He used simple examples which made sense to everyone, and from one idea to the next, his transition was really smooth. On to my next slide. There's also things that I thought that he could do better. He could do better with the joke that was at the start. It was funny, but it didn't connect to the topic right away. So it felt very random. It felt a bit random at first. Also, he didn't use any pictures or slides to help show what he meant. And finally, the ending was short and not very strong. It felt like it just ended suddenly. So on to my fifth slide on how the speech could have been better. So how could he improve his speech? Right after his joke at the start about the blanket, he should have said like a catchphrase like just like that blanket, Netflix surprises us too. That would have linked the joke to the topic clearly. He could also use simple pictures to show how Netflix recommends shows, like arrows going from your favorite genre to new shows. And for the ending, maybe end with a strong question like are you picking the show or is Netflix picking it for you? That would leave the audience thinking after he finished his speech. That's all for my part. Thank you.
My name is Neha Ganashan and I'm going to explain about enthusiasm and connection to the audience. First of all, we have speaker audience engagement highlights. The speaker made the audience feel welcome and connected right from the start. They spoke in a cheerful way and used interesting words to keep everyone listening. The way they spoke felt real and natural. Even when talking about difficult topics, they used simple, everyday examples like family or Netflix to help people understand easily. Second, we have effective communication techniques. Instead of giving a boring lecture, the speaker made the talk feel like a two-way conversation. They asked clever questions and used smart ways to keep the audience interested. Everyone felt involved, which made them pay attention more. The speaker kept their language casual but still respectful and professional. And moving on, we have presentation and delivery style. The speaker used confident body language and expressions to make their message stronger. They look at the audience to keep a good connection. They change their speaking style to suit the people they were talking to, making it easy to follow. They also created a warm, welcoming vibe which made the session fun and easy to remember. Thank you.
The language used by the speaker is simple, conventional, and very easy to follow. He avoids technical terms and uses everyday words to explain complex ideas. For instance, instead of diving into heavy data science terms, he talks like a friend explaining how Netflix knows what we want to watch. The sentences are too short to medium in length, so the audience can understand them easily. The speaker also uses rhetorical repetition. One metaphor he uses is Netflix is a friend who knows your taste better than you do. This helps the audience picture what the algorithm does. He also uses repetition to emphasize his point, saying it's about convenience, it's about control, it's about choice. These techniques make the speech more powerful and memorable. He also uses inclusive words like we and you to make the audience feel involved and connected.
Hello everyone, my name is Krishanka. So today I'll be sharing how the speaker effectively used visual aids to support the message throughout the presentation. Firstly, the slides were designed with a minimalist approach, no clutter, big readable text and strong contrast. This made it easier for the audience, especially students, to stay focused on what was being said. Each slide was clearly connected to the key point of the speech. For example, when explaining the evolution of Netflix, the speaker used a simple, clean slide that showed its journey from DVD rentals to becoming a streaming giant. This helps the audience visualize the point without distractions. The speaker also avoided overwhelming the audience by using only a few bullet points and relevant images per slide. One slide about how Netflix algorithm works had just a heading and one short line of text, which matched the metaphor used in the speech, showing that the visuals also and spoken message worked well together. Although the slides were effectively adding something more dynamic like a graph of subscriber growth or a short clip of Netflix interface, could have made the presentation even more engaging. In short, the visual aids were simple, clear and well timed, helping the speaker deliver the message effectively without distracting the audience. And that's all from me. Thank you.
So, intangibles of the speech is the speech explains how machine learning influences daily choices, especially on Netflix. So, as stated in the introduction before, the speech was delivered by a math undergrad studying machine learning, which means he have a coding background. So the speech started with what do you think is under the sheet? And then he inverts a Netflix logo to introduce the main topic. So in the speech, it covers Netflix history, recommendation engine, and machine and learning in daily life. So intangibles of the speech is the speech explains how machine learning influences daily choices, especially on Netflix. So, as stated in the introduction before, the speech was delivered by a math undergrad studying machine learning, which means he have a coding background. So the speech started with what do you think is under the sheet? And then he inverts a Netflix logo to introduce the main topic. So in the speech, it covers Netflix history, recommendation engine, and machine and learning in daily life. So the speaker also uses reference to Facebook, Gmail, Spotify, and voice assistance for reliability. So his ideas is also supported by credible sources like Wired, the article maker, Netflix executive quote. Interestingly, the speaker have a memorable closing line, which is, "You're not just checking your phone, you're teaching, and the machine is learning." So this speaker also encourages reflection on how technology shapes our behavior. And lovely in the speech, it blends creativity, emotion, technical content into a powerful, memorable speech. So, to conclude the speech analysis, example of a great informative speech, Netflix stands out as the powerful example of how to present complex topics like machine learning in a clear, relatable, and engaging way. The speaker effectively shows how Netflix recommendations system subtly but significantly influences our user behavior over time. Through humor, analogies, audience interaction, and the creative use of fictional the Broncoflix 2000, it simplifies technical concepts and keeps the audience engaged. So the speaker's use of everyday examples like social media and music apps helps demystify machine learning, while the conversational tone and lack of heavy jargon build credibility and connections. Although the speech could have benefited from a stronger conclusion and more visual aids, it still succeeds as its main goal, to show that machine learning isn't just theoretical, it's also part of daily life. And then the closing message in the speech encourages reflections on how our digital actions train this very system we use, and making us actively participant in shaping modern technology. That's all from us. Thank you.